So last video we did a rough last with all lasting iron tacks, and we're going to replace the heel with brass tacks and then work on lasting the lining on the front of the boot so that we can make our toe cap. Alright, well, let's go. Start on one side and just replace each nail as I go. Depending on the thickness of your insole, you might need different size nails. I like to use 5/8 brass tacks. Use brass instead of steel to avoid corrosion and rotting the leather prematurely. And now we're just going to pull all these nails and get the toe opened up. This is just shoe stretch, which is 1/3 part alcohol, 2/3 water. Here we have one that is almost complete. All that's left is to glue this toe down. I like to take the nails out of one side, starting with the inside, glue this layer down, then come over to the other side, and then finish with the toe. Bottom of our boots is nice and tidy. Toe shapers are cut and skived. The better job you do skiving now, the less work we'll have to do shaping in the toe shapers later. There will always be some shaping in at the end, but we should be able to reduce the amount by doing a nice long skive at the back of our toe puff. Alright. What I like to do for positioning my toe shapers is I'll find a edge on my table. I bring the boots forward together like so, and then I push them back using a straight edge and get them so that the toes are flush together like this, and then take my ruler and line it up. It helps if you have a grid on your cutting mat, and then you can line up using the grid, looking straight down, check left, make sure your ruler's on the line there, right, make sure your ruler's on the line there, and in the middle, 3 points, you know this ruler is straight across. You know the toes are square to the edge of the mat, and then you can mark on top of the last where you're going to put them. Perfect. Alright, now what we do, soak your toe caps in acetone for a couple of minutes at least. Put any extra acetone back in the jug afterwards. And so the key here is to let your first coat of glue dry on the lining, and then right before we go to apply the toe cap, we will put a second coat of glue that'll be wet. And then while it's wet, we'll position and last the toe cap or toe puff. And then while this is drying, the glue will dry and it will all bond together and lock the lining leather to the toe. Because we don't want the lining leather to collapse inside the boot. This is important. For this, I use Renya Cintiq. to take those nails out while this is still drying. Hammer them shut so that there's no bumps. Nothing to feel inside the boot. It's important to get this edge as clean as possible now so that we can leave a bit of a lip curled over. We're not going to take this off all the way at the edge here. We're going to leave just a little bit of material, and what that does is it forms a cup that really sits over the whole front of the boot, and then that provides a lot more rigidity in the toe box. And really helps maintain the front of the boot so that it will look the way you built it for years to come. If you do over oil your boots, this material, whether it's leather or celastic, anything other than a steel toe or a composite toe box, is going to collapse with over oiling, which is a good reason to use beeswax based conditioners that aren't going to over soften your leather. Some oil is okay some of the time, but not too much, too regularly. You'll over soften the boots, and that can lead to problems with the build. But so you can see here we're just in front of our line, which is okay. Now we want to make sure that we get the same positioning with our next toe cap. My advice is to bring your toe cap so that it's covering that line, and then nail in the 3 holding nails. And then when you're lasting, you will pull a little bit, but you won't drastically change the position of the toe cap, and it'll sit just in front of the line or just on the line, which is what we want. You want to bring the toe cap back further than you might think, because the distance of the skive can really affect the structure of the toe cap. The structure of the toe cap is really only about that much of the cap, because this inch here at the back is all skived down to nothing, so there's not a ton of structural integrity there. It's just blending the toe cap into the rest of the boot so that you don't see the toe cap when we last the fairs. All right, do it again. transition from the toe puff into the lining should be seamless. You should be able to